Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first episodes of Poetic Expressions on my YouTube channel, Table of Contents. So today, I will be introducing my second anthology, Cycles. After 5 years, I have finally decided to release a new poetry collection. The first one was called The Truth Shall Bloom, and that was all about just questioning. I had just gotten out of high school and I had so many questions, about my identity, about life, about the concept of truth. And I went through this process of just really asking questions through poetry and through expressing myself with words. And now I finally have Cycles as a more mature person. And after going through a lot of cycles in my early 20s, I felt like I needed to document them. So I spent over about 3 years just really documenting the cycles I was going through. A very interesting fact is that this was through different moon cycles and, just going to the ocean and just writing and being in a space of just reflecting. So what I tried to do with this book was not really thinking too much, but just waking up and then just putting it on paper, not being too subjective or objective or whatever, but just being a vessel and allowing the work to come through me. So what is going to happen today is just a short gift to you of what you can find in this book that I took so long to write and express myself. I wasn't even sure if I wanted to release it, honestly speaking, because I had it written and I just kept it for so long. Myself and the designer that I was working with, Keenan Oliver, he actually had to push me to release the book. And we started this process in 2019. So it's been a long journey, very interesting enough. And I think the name of the book is just a testament to everything that transpired in my life, overcoming patterns, overcoming cycles. And I think it's very interesting that the book itself, even though it was a documentation of the past, it's guiding me in the present as well. So let's get into it. The book is divided into 4 chapters, and which are New Moon, and the New Moon chapter is all about self-love. Solar Eclipse, which is all about self-reflection. Lunar Eclipse, which is about connections, love, all those things. And Full Moon, which is about purpose. I'm going to read a few of my favorites from each chapter, starting with purpose. I'll start from the back to front, actually, because it makes sense. Oh, what is that? Nope, not connections. Purpose. Look at that. How pretty. So from purpose, okay. Right, let's get into it. Purpose. The seed that sprouts as passion. A passion that blooms fearlessly and exudes an unstoppable fragrance that is otherworldly. It is the epitome of nature. It knows what direction it grows towards. It flourishes when nurtured. It is called to the sun. It retains its power. Calling, the reality that most avoid. It is liberating. It paves its own path for you to walk into your glory. It is a byproduct of faith-based chlorophyll that gushes green. Purpose is rooted in our origin, in the questions we ask ourselves. Purpose is an inextinguishable fire. It spreads wildly when allowed freedom. It moves, illuminates, expands, and shakes mountains. An unstoppable song originating in all realms. while simultaneously blooming through you as you. The second one I'm going to read from this chapter is all about asking questions, because I really feel like a lot of the times questions are also statements. So I always feel like when people ask questions, there's something behind it. It's not just a question. And often when I really want to get to the bottom of something or the root of something, I ask questions. And even with the people in my life, like if I want to understand them, I sort of ask them questions that will lead them back to them finding the answers. Because a lot of the times people aren't really looking for advice per se. They're just looking for somebody to listen. And when you ask them questions, you'd find that the answers are already like within them, and they're already and finding the answers by themselves within their own being and expressing them in their own words is more empowering than just telling people what to do. So listen carefully. What is your passion timeline? When did it first seep into your bones? When did your spine start tingling from the prayers uttered over your life? When did your passion start calling your name? When was it most audible to you? When did the questions start seeking answers in all the folds of your life? When did you start justifying self-compromise? When did you start losing compassion for yourself and your joy? When did you notice the level of disrespect you could endure at your own hands? When did you come face to face with your purpose? When did you stare it down, laugh with it, celebrate it? When last did you consciously choose it? So I'll leave it at that for the purpose chapter. Let's get right into connections. Because I know people like connections. They like talking about love and all those things and triggering themselves and whatnot. So let's get into it. I'll read the long form ones and just like break them down. Okay, let's see. Love is being present, meeting a person as they are right now, accepting that in the same way that you can change and grow, they can too. Love is relating over and over again, understanding that people are constantly evolving and learning and healing. Love is a deep knowing of who someone is, accepting them for who they are, not who you wish they could be. Love is meeting someone in a space they have purposely created for you in their lives. Love is non-attachment, seeing a person not as some possession but a divine being. Love is realizing the wholeness of someone's being. Love is acceptance, understanding that the other has their own dreams, thoughts, and life force to tend to. Love is choosing to share your energy organically. Love is freedom. Love is solitude. Love is at home. Love is showing up for yourself. Love is doing the inner work. Love is the highest vibration. Don't fear it or run away from it. It loves you. Yeah, you can do that too. I think love is multifaceted. And I think obviously it's a topic that everyone wants to define and wants to confine, and sometimes we limit it to who we are as people. And I feel like love stands on its own, whereas as humans, we have things we need to deal with. And just because somebody comes in with disrespect or somebody comes in, from a place where they're still learning, it doesn't mean that your experience with them is a definition of love. Like, love is expansive. It's not just limited to what you've experienced, whether from early childhood or the relationships you've been in. It can go beyond what you've seen, read, or felt. And I think that's the power of love. Yeah. Shoot. You are my reflection. You remind me of the hidden parts of myself. Thinking about you has been a gateway to my own introspection. Talking about you has shown me that I'd rather be talking to you. Words can't sum up the nature of my transformation. Let's just say you're my coup de grace, a blessing in disguise, a stroke of grace in my life's canvas. I don't know if you know who you are, but yeah. This is me shooting my shot. The beautiful thing about poetry, it means that when you get this book, you can just use my words to shoot your shots to the person you want to be with. Like, I got you. Like, literally. It's for you. Hey. Okay, so this is the last poem I'm going to read from the chapter of Connections. I want to call upon a love that will facilitate space for my wholeness, my healing, my magic, my chaos, my growth, my evolution, my unlearning, my awkwardness, my imperfections, my truths, my skin, my personhood, my beliefs, my reasoning, my joy, the things that ignite my soul, my safety, respect, presence, communication, joy, freedom, intention, attentiveness. I want to give a love that is free, thoughtful, secure, open, clear, responsive, honest, reliable, responsible, ready. Not pretentious, performative, controlled, judgmental, overcritical, oversimplified, restless, impatient, anxious, doubtful, fearful, possessive, cowardice, apologetic, ashamed, habitual, immature, unappreciative, manipulative, dramatic, spiteful, or abusive. Whew. Yeah. And the last question through poetry that I have is, I wonder if my soul says yes to calling you my love. Ding, ding, ding. Okay, we're going to move on to the theme, well, the chapter called self-reflection. And yeah, man, I really love the concept of self-reflection, of really spending time with yourself, because every year you're changing, you're growing, you have things influencing you, you're meeting new people, and because we're living in such a fast-paced world, sometimes you don't get to sit down and actually reflect on yourself, on what you've learned, and actually getting a chance to like integrate everything. So this is a really important chapter for me that I enjoyed expressing. It has a lot of very short poems though, which can be unpacked. So yeah, let's get into it. I mean, this one was one of the most vulnerable ones I wrote, so I'll get into it. I fear to speak about identity. I fear to define myself into stagnation. Fear is conceived by my need to please, my need to spread myself thin. Will they accept me? Am I scared of upsetting them? Am I scared of having different opinions from them? Am I scared of seeing their face change with disregard? Am I scared of them mirroring my fear of rejection? Am I scared of swallowing the hard pill of my lack of assertiveness? Am I scared that their respect for me is conditional? Am I really scared, or have I made a habit of making space for people harboring dislike for me under their tongues? Users who compensate with false acceptance. Acceptance I should be giving to myself truthfully. Shoot. I wrote this in a time where I was obviously young. I am now wise. I am recording this 3 days after turning 24. So I am no longer scared, let me tell you something. But I do feel like we're living in a world where just by identifying yourself, it's something that is political. Just by saying this is who I am, you can get attacks from all kinds of spaces, all kinds of people, you know. So when it comes to fear, I'd really say look into it, question where the fear is coming from, what is the root of the fear, so that you can have time to transcend it. Because often we have a lot of information that we internalize, and we allow that information to form fears, and the reality we create from those fears is not always a representation of who we want to be. And that would really be like what I'd like to tell you about fear. You know, transcend it, be confident, be free. It is your life. There's really not much you can do to please everybody. You can't please everybody. But yeah, in closing, I'll go with the last chapter, which is self-love. I want my life to be an altar where love flows freely, where power is used for good, where grace is at the center. And in closing, I'd like to say, above all, I've learned to love and accept myself. It is what every human wants and what every human deserves. This is my second book, anthology, poetry collection, whatever you'd love to call it, called Cycles. I'm very proud of it. It has changed me and how I view myself, and I've grown so much. And I'd love to say thank you for tuning in to these poetic expressions. I will be doing more. I will be expressing more. Thank you. I love you. Get yourself a copy from my website. It will be in the comment section. Like, subscribe, share. Thank you.
And